Nebraska's congressional delegation operates as a direct financial conduit for pro-Israel lobbying money that secures unwavering policy alignment with Israeli interests while sustaining the broader network of economic extraction and political control established through beef monopolies, AG tech transfers, defense contracts, and official state missions. The American-Israel Public Affairs Committee, AIPAC, and its affiliated pro-Israel entities deliver hundreds of thousands of dollars in campaign contributions to Nebraska's federal officeholders, creating measurable conflicts of interest that lock these politicians into advancing Israeli priorities at every level of government. This financial pipeline operates alongside the existing structures of WR Reserve Protein Group's exclusive kosher beef monopoly in Hastings, the Nebraska-Israel Agri-Challenge technology transfers, $13 million in U.S. foreign military financing routed through Nebraska defense firms, and Governor Jim Pillen's 2025 Solidarity Mission organized by the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement and Jewish Federation of Omaha. The money does not flow to state-level figures such as Governor Pillen, but the federal delegation's AIPAC funding complements and amplifies the state-level advocacy networks, ensuring that Nebraska's agricultural base, manufacturing capacity, and legislative apparatus remain subordinated to Israeli demands. Senator Deb Fischer received $506,136 from pro-Israel sources in the 2023 to 2024 cycle, including $491,184 specifically tied to AIPAC-related channels. This places her among the top Senate recipients of such funds. Fischer has consistently leveraged her position to advance Israeli trade and military interests. She participated directly in the 2016 ceremonies reopening the U.S. beef market to Israel, standing alongside Lieutenant Governor Mike Foley and Agriculture Director Greg Ibach to celebrate the first shipment from WR Reserve Protein Group. Fischer's office has supported legislation expanding foreign military financing that benefits Nebraska firms supplying the Israeli Defense Forces. The AIPAC dollars correlate precisely with her votes for multi-billion-dollar aid packages to Israel and her public endorsements of Nebraska's expanding defense contracts with Israeli entities. Senator Pete Ricketts received $303,472 from pro-Israel sources in the same cycle, with $218,644 coming directly from the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee. Ricketts has used his Senate platform to reinforce the Nebraska-Israel economic channels, including support for policies that protect the Hastings beef export monopoly and defense manufacturing flows. His contributions align with the pattern established by the 1993 Memorandum of Understanding signed by Governor Ben Nelson, which first formalized state government facilitation of Israeli trade priorities. Ricketts' financial ties to AIPAC ensure continued legislative backing for the $773 million in cumulative Nebraska exports to Israel since 1996 and the $54 million recorded in 2024 alone. Representative Don Bacon stands as the largest recipient in the delegation, pulling in $795,420 from pro-Israel sources in the 2023 to 2024 cycle, including $697,837 directly from AIPAC. Bacon's career total from pro-Israel entities exceeds $1.28 million. This funding coincides with his active role in promoting Nebraska's defense industry ties to Israel, including contracts with Almond Brothers, in Holdridge and Mill Power Source that channel U.S. taxpayer dollars into Israeli military supply chains. Bacon joined bipartisan congressional delegations to Israel and has publicly championed the expansion of AG tech partnerships such as Lindsay Corporation's collaboration with Tyrannies and Valmont's acquisition of Prospera Technologies. The AIPAC money functions as direct compensation for Bacon's consistent advocacy that protects and grows these one-directional flows of Nebraska resources to Israel. Representative Adrian Smith received $20,508 directly from AIPAC in the 2023 to 2024 cycle. While smaller than his colleagues' totals, the contribution still ties him into the network. Smith participated in the 2016 efforts to lift the Israeli beef import ban, directly benefiting Fischel Ziegelheim's WR Reserve Protein Group and its sole authorization from the Israeli government. Smith's votes and public statements maintain the policy environment that allows Nebraska to dominate 99% of U.S. beef exports to Israel while excluding every other American state from that certified channel. Representative Mike Flood registers no significant direct pro-Israel contributions in the latest cycle, yet he receives public support and endorsements from AIPAC-aligned groups that feature him in pledge materials. Flood aligns with the delegation's overall posture, voting for aid packages and trade measures that sustain the Nebraska-Israel relationship without deviation. The absence of large personal checks does not disrupt the network. Flood's legislative behavior remains fully integrated with the AIPAC-funded members who set the tone for Nebraska's congressional actions. These federal contributions create interlocking conflicts of interest that extend into state governance. Governor Jim Pillen has received zero campaign dollars from AIPAC or pro-Israel PACs, as such organizations focus exclusively on federal races. Pillen's relationship with Israel operates through non-financial channels of direct influence. The October 2025 Trade and Solidarity Mission he led to meet Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and President Isaac Herzog was organized by the Jewish Federation of Omaha and the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement. The delegation included Fischel Ziegelheim, HDR executives, and Nebraska Department of Economic Development officials who negotiated expanded beef contracts and defense technology sales. Pillen issued the 2023 proclamation adopting the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism and directing state agencies to shun companies involved in boycott, divestment, and sanctions efforts against Israel. State Senator Brian Hardin introduced LB 538 in 2025 to embed the same definition into public schools and universities, with Combat Anti-Semitism movement representatives testifying and providing strategic guidance at legislative hearings. These actions require no direct AIPAC checks to Pillen or state legislators because the federal delegation's funding and the civic networks already enforce alignment. The Jewish Federation of Omaha and Combat Anti-Semitism movement function as the operational bridge between federal AIPAC money and state-level execution. The Federation coordinates missions, cultural exchanges, and policy briefings that connect Nebraska officials with Israeli consuls general. Combat Anti-Semitism movement, staffed by former Israeli military and government personnel, supplies the ideological framework and legislative language that translates AIPAC priorities into Nebraska statutes and proclamations. Together they ensure that the beef monopoly, AG Tech deals with Green Eye Technology and CropX, university research partnerships at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln and University of Nebraska-Omaha, and HDR's Tel Aviv office all receive uninterrupted state facilitation. Other lobbying entities play supporting roles but remain secondary to the AIPAC-dominated financial and advocacy apparatus. Smaller pro-Israel PACs such as U.S. Israel PAC contribute modest sums that supplement the main pipeline. No Israeli government entities or foreign charities make direct donations, as U.S. law prohibits such transfers into American campaigns. Instead, domestic pro-Israel supporters bundled through AIPAC deliver the funds that purchase policy outcomes. Traditional Nebraska lobbying sectors, agriculture, manufacturing, and energy, occasionally intersect with Israel-related issues through trade promotion, yet they defer to the dedicated pro-Israel networks when beef exports, defense contracts, or anti-Semitism legislation appear on the agenda. Nebraska state legislators beyond the congressional delegation receive no AIPAC money but gain access to Israel trips, networking events, and strategic support from the same Jewish Federation and Combat Anti-Semitism movement apparatus that shapes Governor Pillen's foreign travel and proclamations. The financial capture produces concrete results. Nebraska cattle producers supply live animals to the Hastings plant. WR Reserve processes and certifies shipments under Israeli rabbinical and veterinary oversight. Israeli trucks carry Nebraska-branded beef through supermarkets. In parallel, Israeli startups receive subsidized access to Nebraska farmland through the Agri-Challenge program, embedding proprietary sensors and AI into local irrigation and spraying systems. Nebraska defense firms ship components funded by $13 million in foreign military financing straight to the Israeli Defense Forces. HDR executives secure infrastructure contracts in Tel Aviv while maintaining their Omaha headquarters. Each transaction is protected and expanded by the Congressional delegation's AIPAC-funded votes and Governor Pillen's policy directives. This system operates without interruption or accountability to Nebraska's broader population. Most Nebraskans remain unaware that their state's congressional delegation receives hundreds of thousands in pro-Israel contributions while steering public resources toward exclusive Israeli market access and military supply chains. The 1993 Memorandum of Understanding provided the initial governmental entry point. Successive AIPAC checks to Fisher, Ricketts, Bacon, and Smith have deepened the entanglement. The Combat Anti-Semitism Movement and Jewish Federation supply the state-level coordination that requires no direct checks to Pillen or legislators. The result is a self-reinforcing apparatus of financial influence, economic extraction, and political control that funnels Nebraska's agricultural output, manufacturing capacity, academic resources, and taxpayer-backed financing into Israeli priorities. Nebraska's federal delegation functions as the cash register for this network. AIPAC money purchases the legislative muscle that sustains the WR Reserve monopoly, the defense financing routes, the AG Tech acquisitions, and the official missions that blend commerce with ideological solidarity. Governor Pillen and state legislators, though free of direct contributions, execute the same agenda through missions, proclamations, and legislation crafted by the same advocacy organizations. The Nebraska-Israel connection is no longer limited to a single beef plant in Hastings. It now encompasses a fully integrated system in which congressional campaign dollars, state executive power, and civic networks operate in precise coordination to deliver continuous benefits to Israel at the direct expense of Nebraska's domestic priorities and democratic independence.